Hey YouTube. Like I said in the last video, I'm going to be doing some work on a dual battery system today. I don't know if I'll completely finish it, but I'm going to try to. I already have the tray mounted on the driver's side of the pickup, and I have my batteries purchased, I have my wire purchased, I have my fuses, I have all my connectors, everything should be all set. It's just a matter of will I have the time today, so I'll see what I can do, and hopefully I'll get something done. It was raining this morning, so there's a little bit of water on these. I just brought these home this morning, and they were in the back of my truck, and I guess there was still some water on the top, or a couple drops on these. Yeah, here we had torrential rain last night. It's pretty rare for October in Wisconsin to have that. So anyway, I already have the tray mounted. These are getting really hard to find. These are left-hand battery trays for these early 90s, late 80s Silverados. For whatever reason, they're really hard to find. They didn't make very many of them. And I think it's because usually the dual battery setup was just for a snowplow setup or something like that. So they just didn't make a lot of them, because it wasn't a very common need. You can pick up one of these on eBay for about $70, $75 including shipping. I think that's about what I spent. It's pretty easy to install, though it's a little tight on this side for whatever reason. But I just had to mark the holes, I had to pick up a few machine screws and washers and nuts, and I was able to mount it on the fender here. And it's pretty solid, so it'll work. Something's a little out of alignment on the fender, I think, because I wasn't able to get this perfectly straight. But it's pretty level, it's pretty stable. It's about the same as this one, which isn't in great shape either. So, now this is the original battery. This one has 850 cold cranking amps and 1000 cranking amps. It's group 65, size 65. This is an Everstart from Walmart. This is what the truck came with when I bought it last spring. 2 springs ago. Spring of 2012, not spring of 2013. Well, I've had this thing for longer than I thought. But this was what came with the truck, and I'm guessing the guy put it in there not too long after it was manufactured, so I had to really clean this off. There was corrosion all over this. The positive terminal was just covered in dirt, so I just took it out one day and just scrubbed it down with baking soda and water, just to get all the acid crud off, get dirt off, everything. And it looks almost new now. This battery made it all the way through last winter, and it's still going strong, but I'm ready to put in a dual battery setup. I already showed the new batteries, and why is that not in focus? I already showed the new batteries. This one is not going to be done, though. This one I'll still use. This one's actually going to go in back in the bed in a battery box, and this is actually going to power my inverter. And then I'll just charge it with a standalone battery charger. So I don't use the inverter that much, so the main purpose will be, like at school, I eat my lunch in the truck and stuff, so I can listen to music, or my goal is to be able to watch a movie on my laptop or something without running my main battery down. So I'll just have this as a standalone, and I don't really care if I ruin it by deep cycling it, because it's an old battery anyway, so I'll use up whatever life that thing has left, and then I'll put a true deep cycle back there. And I'm all about trying to recycle as much as possible, so I want to get as much, just like the compressor. Like I said before, I'm going to use this thing until it seizes up on me, and then I'll get a good one. So no reason to lose working parts just because you want a better part. That's my opinion in this case, especially with a truck of this age. So anyway, this is 1000 cranking amps, 850 cold cranking amps, group 65. These are group 65 as well. Each one of these is, I'll show that, it's 675 cold cranking amps and 890 cranking amps. So here in Wisconsin, we need all the cranking amps we can get because our winters are cold. For those of you who have never been here, our winters are cold. That's about as simple as I can put it. Last winter it dropped down. It's amazing how many times it drops down below zero. I remember one morning going to school and it was -4 degrees, and it wasn't even early morning. So just FYI, that Walmart battery, that EverStart in there, started up every time. I never had to jump start it, except for one time when my dad accidentally left my fog lights on. So, that one has actually done pretty well, and I recommend that one right now. I'll update you once I find out how well these things work. I mean, heck, if two of them can't turn over the truck, then we've got a problem. So, I'm not going to be quite doubling my amperage, but I'll be adding some amperage to it, and the main purpose of this is, again, it will give me a little more reserve capacity, which is what I'm looking for. I can listen to the radio a little longer. I don't know if I can leave the lights on and still be safe, but I can do some smaller things like that a little longer, which is overall the goal of this whole system. So anyway, I'm going to see if I can even get these to fit. I want to try that out before I do anything else. They're supposed to be the right size, but from manufacturer to manufacturer there are always slight variations, so I'll see what happens here. Alright, I have the other battery mounted. Right there on the driver's side. Doesn't fit as well as this side does. I think the battery tray is slightly the wrong size for some reason. But it does fit. So I've got the two batteries sitting in here now. It's just a matter of wiring them up. Got the cables I disconnected all just taped together for now so I don't forget what goes where. Here's the old one. Need to stick that in back still. And I've cut my wire to length too. This is one 0-gauge wire. And then I also have all my terminals in there. So there isn't much else to show here. I'm going to go put terminals on the wire and we'll start connecting everything up. And we'll see how it goes. Alright, it's done. I still need to do a few tweaks on it. I'll need to get some covering on the cables. I forgot to pick some of that up today, so I'll take care of that this upcoming week. But in terms of mechanically hooked up and working, it's all done. Oh, I need to secure that other battery down too, but I didn't want to secure anything down until I had tested it, and I just tested it. Start zip tying some of the wires down just so they don't get into the belt, so that would be a bad thing. So this is the battery that the alternator's hooked up to, and its voltage is reading fine. The voltage on that one is reading fine. Fired right up. I think I should have no problem over the winter. We'll see. The wiring is incredibly thick. The fuse is 150 amps. I can't imagine the starter will use that much even on a sub-zero day. I figure from what I've heard, most starters are around 100 amps or less. So I'm hoping on that. So anyway, I have my two cables hooked up to that. A lot of cables hooked up to that thing. I did the big 3 upgrade about a month ago. And so I've got big giant terminals on there, so I might want to get some bigger screws on that. But you can see I have the 1 gauge cables running over. I have my 150 amp fuse. And they're hooked into this. I wrapped these in electric tape because this battery is sitting a little higher than the other one, a little higher than I expected. And I just want to be absolutely sure that if it does brush the top of this, it's not going to short out. It doesn't touch the top of that, but I'm all about, just in case, if the fastener, once I get fastener on this, if the fastener fails and it bounces up on a bumpy road or something, I don't want the positive to hit the negative metal, so, because that would be very bad too, even though I do have a fuse. So there isn't much else to say. It fires right up. The voltage is holding steady. The voltage gauge reads about 14.2 volts or so. 14.1, 14.2 volts while running. And it's about, right, I mean they're new batteries so they're not 100% full, but it's about 12.5 at rest right now. So once I drive it around a bit and use it, the batteries will gain full capacity eventually. So that's how I did it. I did finally find a bungee cord or strap or something to tie that one down too, so I don't have batteries bouncing everywhere. I need to clean this out a bit, a little bit of trash in here. Usually I keep this thing really clean, but with all my projects I've got papers and stuff everywhere. But anyway, I'm going to show a little bit of this. Let me turn on the light. Those are household outlets, and that's an 800 watt inverter. I took the old battery, my old starting battery, and it's in back in that black case in the middle, and I can hook the inverter up to that. So now I can have household current out of a socket in my truck. That box is just, I have some spare fluids and stuff in there. But the battery, that's where I put my old battery, so I'm still reusing it. And once that one won't hold a charge anymore, which under deep cycling won't be very long before that stops holding a charge, because it's a starting battery, not a deep cycle battery. I'm just trying to squeeze every last bit of life out of it that I can. I won't be severely deep cycling it, but occasionally I will be draining it probably. So once it has no lifespan left, which won't be more than a year I'm guessing, under cycling, I'll be putting a true deep cycle, like a marine deep cycle back there or something. And then most of the electrical and mechanical stuff that I wanted to do with this truck will be done. Then I've got to do some body work. I want to try to repair some of those rocker panels. It has no rocker panels on either side to speak of. The cab corner on this side's okay, but the other side it's garbage. Show that. Yeah, that's gone. So anyway, that's the truck. Like I said, I'm essentially done with the electrical and mechanical stuff. A lot of the stuff to fix now is cosmetic. This has been a long project, so. But anyway, so that's my dual battery, and I don't have the other battery tied into the system, but I guess you could call it a triple battery, because that battery will be running some accessories like the inverter mainly. So, dual starting batteries and single cycling battery. So anyway, that's it.